A successful Philippines team in need of a big response and taking on a Hong Kong team that finished in the top 10 2 years ago and who started emphatically yesterday with a big win over Kuwait. Analyst Paulo Kennedy alongside Lee Tim Long. What can we expect from this contest here today?
Good morning, Tim, and you know, a thrilling contest, one that we weren't expecting coming into the tournament. We look at the Hong Kong team being introduced. They haven't made the top 8 of this tournament since 1983, but a win today would really put them in with a strong chance of progressing to the quarterfinals. They're only 1-10 all time against the Philippines, though. Their last win against them was 2003 when they prevailed 66-58. A big challenge for them today, but few people expected them to win yesterday. Maybe they can do it again. Quite the opposite with the Philippines. Everybody expected them to win yesterday. They led by 16 early in the second quarter. There have been question marks about their fitness coming into the tournament. Perhaps that played a part in them falling away badly later in the game and eventually losing to Palestine. I guess today will be a test of how serious are they. If they're a genuine contender for a medal, they'll bounce back strongly today. But if there are some real concerns about them, perhaps this is going to be another big challenge for them.
It has become a huge game for the Philippines, when perhaps we didn't expect it to be. Tab Baldwin admitting that he made a few mistakes in that defeat to Palestine yesterday. This one about to get underway, but first we'll pause for the national anthem, starting with Hong Kong.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of People's Republic of China. So, please remain standing for the national anthem of Philippines.
The Philippines, silver medalists on home soil 2 years ago, the second most successful nation in the history of the competition, beaten by Palestine in their first ever FIBA Asian Championship game yesterday, and today facing a Hong Kong team that came out all guns blazing to blow Kuwait away for a big win to open the tournament. The Philippines losing to Palestine 73-75, Hong Kong beating Kuwait 87-50. Can they provide another test for the 2013 finalists? Alongside me, our expert analyst Paulo Kennedy will take you through the key players on display for both nations here on the second day of competition.
Well, I think you know, when you look at the key players, I think for Hong Kong yesterday, it was actually you know, their team performance was outstanding. And there's a lot of talk about their offense, but it was their defense that got the job done. And we see Andre Blatch on screen there for the Philippines. He's going to be a huge test for that defense today. Kuwait didn't have anyone of his sort of caliber in the middle. How can the undersized Hong Kong, how can they get that job done? Duncan Reed, their centre, he's obviously a big piece in that puzzle, but he's going to need a lot of help. You know, Blatch can go inside. We saw early in the game yesterday, he can drive to the basket as well. He can score in transition. He can find teammates. So it's going to take a full team approach from the Hong Kong defense to stop him. And I guess that they're going to be hoping that the Philippines continue to struggle from long range. They were 7 of 30 from three-point range yesterday. And look at the Hong Kong team. And you know, talk about their defense. They held Kuwait to 50 points at 33% from the field. They forced 22 turnovers. And you're going to win most games if you achieve that defensively. On offense, 20 offensive rebounds. That was the key stat for the game for me. Can they repeat that today? They're against a much bigger, more athletic opponent. We look at the three referees. The way they go about refereeing the game today could be important. If it's a more physical game, that's going to benefit the Philippines because they're big, strong bodies. Hong Kong, they're going to want to get out in transition, push the ball, transition triples, all their sorts of things. Look at some of their key players. You know, the man who sparked them yesterday was Leung Chiu-Wah, 3 of 3 from long range. They started slowly against Kuwait. He got going, a couple of transition three-pointers, and they rolled from there. We talk about Duncan Reid. He was quiet yesterday. He still finished with 13 points and 13 rebounds. I'd love to have a quiet game like that. Probably the other player to make note of is Lee Key, and we see him there starting in the shooting guard position. He's never seen his shot he doesn't like. He was 4 of 13 from long range yesterday for his 15 points, but if he actually finds his range a bit more tonight, that could be a real key for Hong Kong. If he could hit 5, 6, 7 three-pointers, that starts to make Tab Baldwin and the Philippines make some adjustments. You know, when it comes to the Philippines, we look at their roster, and at the top there, Andre Blatch, Gabe Norwood, Jason William, or Jason Castro as he's now referred to. Their starters were pretty good yesterday. They outscored Palestine by 12 points. They were on the court. The bench was outscored by 14. So that's the issue for the Philippines. Their bench guys have to find a way to make some plays, not just rely on Castro at the point, not just rely on Blatch bailing them out. Renadel Diocampo moved into the starting lineup today. He struggled yesterday. You know, he's been one of their mainstays. He's a power forward, but he can hit the three, he can drive to the basket, and they're going to be looking for a much better performance from him today, and looking for him to use his physicality against the smaller Hong Kong team.
As far as Andre Blatch is concerned, we talked about the damage he did inside early on. We saw less of that the longer the game progressed. Question marks about his fitness, of course, and I think played far more minutes than perhaps they wanted him to yesterday. 28 minutes on court, playing the day after that. Potentially even tired today.
Yeah, well, you saw the plan. When they were 16 points up, he was subbed out. He sat in the rest of the second quarter, and that was the point in time where Palestine got back into the ball game. You know, coaches have this saying, we gave them encouragement, and the Philippines gave Palestine encouragement with Blatch on the bench, and they rolled from there. But you're spot on about the fatigue. He was 1 of 7 from long range. And the more tired you get, the less you want to work hard to get position close to the basket. They need him underneath the rim today, and they'll want to get to a 20 or 30 point lead early so they can rest him and they can feel a lot safer than perhaps they did yesterday.
Yeah, Blatch, I believe, hitting his first from downtown, missing his last 6 in a row, including the shot right at the end. Let's see what he can do today. They need a big performance, Philippines, from their big start. We're already in China for the first game of Game Day 2 at the 2015 FIBA Asia Championship. Myself, Tim Long, alongside analyst Paulo Kennedy, all set to talk you through the action here in Changsha. The Philippines with 5 golds, 3 silvers and a bronze, reigning silver medal holders, looking to shake off one of the biggest upsets in tournament history yesterday. Can they get their first win here against Hong Kong, or is there another upset on the cards? There's the Philippines who control the opening tip, and will look for the first points of this ball game. Norwood. Room to receive by Humpty Bay. Ross moves it on to Blatch, who's going to try and get going early on, and he steps on the line. He goes out of bounds.
But a clear intention of what they want to do. First possession, low post, Andre Blatch. They didn't get the result, but I think we can expect to see a lot more of that today.
Game plan evident in the opening 15 seconds. Here's Chong to Wong, knocked away, and a chance now in transition. If they can grab it, they can. It's put in by Jason Castro.
Man, they call the blur. And again, I think they need to generate more points from their defense. They struggled in the half court yesterday. And again, we see their intentions clearly early.
Chan. Moving it back now to Duncan Reid across to the far side. They'll put up a shot from the outside, no good. Knocked out of bounds, it's still going to be Hong Kong ball. Duncan Reed, that double-double yesterday. 13 points, 13 rebounds after a slow start. Only 2 points in the first half. Mid-range shot short, and Blatch grabs the rebound. Here comes Castro again, showing his speed at court. Now Blatch, in his first from downtown yesterday, pauses on this one, goes inside and draws contact.
And that's the conundrum when you're guarding Blatch. You have to have the big man on him to defend him inside, but then he takes him outside. You've got to get up in his face, and then not a lot of big guys have the lateral quickness to go with him, and that's why we saw Palestine in the zone the second half yesterday.
Here's Blatch with those other players swarming around him, creating the movement. Back to Blatch again on the perimeter. Keeps thinking about it. He's going to take on the three this time. He's going to knock it down. Positive start for the Philippines.
We see Blatch is guarding Duncan Reed at this end, and it's absolutely vital that Hong Kong make him work defensively to tire him out. So look to see if they use Reed in a few on-ball situations to drag Blatch away from the basket.
By Wong Chung Wai, Chance Yu Wing pulls away for the three. It's wide of the basket towards the end of the shot clock. Philippines have it knocked away though in transition. Hong Kong can come back now with a 2-on-2 opportunity. Back to the perimeter, Chance Yu Wing over to the corner, and foot on the line there from Lee Key. They still can't get going.
And it's that sort of careless turnover we saw from the Philippines. That's what Q8 did yesterday, and that's what got Hong Kong going. So while the Philippines want to push the ball in transition, they've got to look after it at the same time.
By Castro to Blatch. Blatch going to try again from the outside. Offensive board this time for Ontiveros, and he's able to get it to rattle around and drop. So a 7-0 run at the start of the game. Hong Kong still looking for their first score, trying to come up court quickly. And a foul without a point in the opening 2 minutes and 17 seconds. First foul on Norwood. Non-shooting foul, so Hong Kong to inbound. Lee Key picks it up on the perimeter. He's going to shoot the three. Still they struggle. Philippines coming quickly down court, run into the paint. Good adjustment and put in by De Ocampo. It's a 9-0 run at the start of the game.
And Tab Baldwin would be delighted with that pass. It wasn't an easy pass to make, but the big men for Philippines have a physical advantage. So put it up in the air and said to De Ocampo, go up and get it, and he did, and he finished.
Let's see if Hong Kong can get going here with Chong. It's short, the rebound secured by Hontiveros. An opportunity to make it a double-digit run at the start of the game. They'll try and do it from the corner as well. Yes! It's good for Jason Castro, and the Filipino flourish continues. They lead 12-0 at the start of this one, and they force Hong Kong to call timeout. What a start for the Philippines.
And once again, the Philippine starters getting the job done as they did yesterday. It's going to be interesting to see what's the approach now with the substitution patterns. Does Coach Baldwin, does he keep his starters on, or does he go to his rotations?
The Philippines 12, Hong Kong 0 after 3 minutes here. What a response they have shown to that huge disappointment on the opening day.
And 4 of their 5 field goal attempts from 3-point range. They need to try and get something going towards the basket.
0 of 5 from the field for Hong Kong so far as they drive in. Chong has it knocked away and the struggle continues off the back of the timeout. Although they've turned it over here with Castro.
I really like that matchup. Gabe Norwood defending Chong. Chong was their chief playmaker yesterday. 14 points, 5 assists. He's the guy who can make things happen for others. Norwood is the best of them.
They get a free hit. First points on the board with Chong Yam in. It takes them almost 3.5 minutes. Norwood. Moved on by Hontiveros, thrown in towards Black, catches it high, brings it down, looks to go to work, has it knocked away. Back to Hontiveros, who hits from the outside. What a start for the Philippines, 15 points in less than 4 minutes. Bounce pass into traffic and knocked away. The Philippines will come on the fast break again. 3-on-2 opportunity here. Looking to go all the way was Castro. The blur between the two blue shirts, and draws the contact.
Couldn't quite get that finish to go, but you look at the scoreboard at 15-2 and you say offensive explosion from the Philippines, but it's been as much about the defense, hasn't it? And that's been generating their points. And we asked the question, you know, are they a genuine team that would bounce back, or would they struggle through? And so far they're answering that question pretty well.
Six points early on for Castro, make it 7 for the number 7. After 10 points in 19 minutes yesterday. Tremendous shooting start, but good, easy looks off the defense for the Philippines. 6 of 7 from the field so far. Just 1 of 7 at Hong Kong. Down to the final seconds of the shot clock, they get to the basket but miss the layup. Back out to Hontiveros on the outside, can't hit this one. Hong Kong need to try and build up some momentum now. And he goes to Reed. Knocked away as he went up against Blanche, and he's not got going. Taking the Philippines at pace again. They get away with that one, Hong Kong. They back off. The 3 is short from Chong. They've had opportunities now to close the gap.
Yeah, that's 0 of 5 from three-point land. And, you know, they're not going to stay in touch in this game unless they can start nailing some triples. I think one of the, as we see some substitutions, Romeo into the game for the Philippines. One of the traditional strengths of the Southeast Asian team is their player movement and their ball movement. And from Hong Kong, we're seeing a lot of standing rounds. The ball's being trapped in one spot. The Philippines are being physical on the cutters, making it hard for them to move, and they need to run some counters to get some more movement.
The lead is 15 halfway through the first quarter. Here's Romeo. Just into the ball game, going to take on a 3 straight away, going to knock down a 3 straight away, and the lead continues to grow.
Hong Kong into a 2-3 zone on that possession. Ball screen at the top of the key, no help, open three-pointer.
The Philippines now 4 of 6 from downtown. There's Reed, hands it off to Wong Chung Wai. It's all very static at the moment still for Hong Kong. Waiting for some movement now, but only 5 left on the shot clock. The movement's not really coming. Reed has to put it up right at the end of the shot clock, the long 2 that's way short. That sums it up.
It seems everywhere they look at the moment, there's long Filipino arms in their way, putting that defensive pressure on. And, you know, 6 minutes into the game, 2 points scored. They've got to change something up.
Norwood taking his time on the perimeter. Romeo's going to line up another 3. Long one this time off the mark.
We saw yesterday the Philippines against the zone. They fell into the trap of just shooting 3-point shots. 2 possessions in a row now. Let's see if they make some adjustments there.
Reed goes for the long 2 again. It's well short again. Terrible start for him. Romeo looks to burst down court. Able to keep his balance and find Blanche. Norwood back to Romeo in the corner. Thought about taking on another one. Norwood's going to take it on instead. Short from him, but able to grab his own rebound. Take the long 2 this time, another miss. Hong Kong get away with it again and now have a chance in transition. Moved on quickly, and they can't hit the layup again with Chong. Norwood into the paint, over to Blanche, who's going to shoot the 3. They've started to miss a few shots now.
They were 3 of 4, they're now 4 of 9 from the arc.
They were 4 of 6, so they've missed their last 3 in a row. Reed looking to roll to the basket and able to get that one to go. So a bit of joy for Hong Kong and a bit of joy for Duncan Reed.
And it was that quick transition that allowed a mismatch. Blatch ended up on somebody else. Duncan Reed had the advantage in the low post and they were smart enough to go straight to it.
Reed missed his first 3 shots, finally hits. And here's Blatch now, looking to get away from Reed. Uses The long arm to try and flip it up and in, and then gets the contact.
Talking about mismatches in the low post, there aren't too many defenders that Andre Blatch doesn't feel like he has a mismatch close to the basket. Now, I know we talked about it in the pre-game, but it's the key for Tad Baldwin, it's the key for the point guards for the Philippines to get that balance between Blatch shooting from the outside and getting the ball close to the hoops.
Blatch looking to bulldoze his way through, misses the shot but tips it in on his own rebound. 5 points early on for him. And it goes from Lin. Back out to the perimeter here to Chan, who's going to put it up from the outside. That's what Hong Kong need. Romeo to Blatch. There's the pass in, moved on swiftly. Put up from mid-range from Campo off the mark, but an offensive board. Here's a Bueva driving inside, losing it. A chance now for Hong Kong to build some momentum in transition, but Chan Chiu Wang loses the handle on the ball.
And I was about to say, that's where Hong Kong are at their best. You know, as soon as they get a turnover, you see their players streaking down the court. They anticipate it really well, but he was thinking about what he was going to do before he had the basketball.
Such a frustrating missed opportunity. Would have closed the gap to 13. It's been as many as 18. Here's Romeo. Romeo's going to take on a 3 again, not shy to shoot from that kind of range. Off the mark again though. Here they come in transition once more. No mistake this time from Chan Chiu Wing.
And you talk about closing the gap to 13. In the first quarter, you think, well, you know, that's a little bit pointless. You're a long way back. But think about what happened yesterday. It's important Hong Kong hang around.
Lovely play from Calvin Abueva. Final minute of the first quarter coming up. 15-point Philippines lead now. Here's Chan. This time he's going to take on the 3. Nothing but net for Chan Chiu Wing. 5 quick-fire points, and Hong Kong finally are firing. Abueva. Looking to get away, fouled on the perimeter. It's the first for Chan Chiu Wing in transition, having failed to grab the handle on the previous fast break opportunity, and then the 3 knocked down shortly after that. 5 points for him, and a 12-point deficit sounds a lot better than an 18-point deficit.
It certainly does, and there's five reserves on the court for the Philippines, and yesterday that was when Palestine made some inroads. Let's see if Hong Kong can do the same. Certainly Chan has upped his intensity. He's trying to bring his team back into the game.
Palestine were down by 16 against the Philippines yesterday before coming back with the likes of Andre Blatch off the court. Hong Kong have faced an even greater deficit already today, down by 18 in the first quarter. 1 of 2 from the line for Abueva, so it's a 13-point game. Final minute of the first quarter. Moved on to Lin Ho Chun, who's going to drive towards the basket. Knocked off balance though, and here comes Abueva in transition. Able to get away, but the shot falls short. Grabbed his own rebound before it even hit the rim, and then a foul.
I think that's the least convincing fast break we've seen so far in this tournament. He didn't have the handle on the ball, but he just decided, I'm going to the hoop. And we see the follow-up, just grazed the rim, but it's that second effort. You know, they call him the beast because he plays with so much energy, and that's an example of what he can do there. It's not always pretty, but it's often effective.
Yeah, so intimate trip to the foul line. Calvin Abueva, 5 points and 8 rebounds yesterday in 20 minutes on court. Able to knock down both on that trip. 27-12 is the score for the Philippines. Not updated on the bottom of your screen yet. Looking to finish strongly here in the first quarter. To attack the basket inside, very congested, and then grabbed by Gamwelas, who's fouled.
We talked about the intelligence of the Hong Kong offense a little while ago when they recognised the mismatch with Duncan Reed and went inside. That time they didn't recognise it. Reed with a smaller plate, and they picked Zento, who's not the same offensive threat that Reed is.
Over the foul limit, Hong Kong, so Matt Ganguelas straight to the line. And a chance to extend this lead back towards the largest lead of the game again, after a bit of joy for Hong Kong. And this is the first, though, Ganguelas. 7 points for Castro, leading the way for the Philippines. They've got 3 players on 5 in Blatch, Abueva and Hontiveros. The second one goes down for Ganguelas. Shot clock turned off at the end of the first. 12 seconds for Hong Kong to find a good shot here. Pressed in on their own side of the court. They've moved it well out of that pressure for a 3. Big shot that could be for Ao Yung right towards the end of the first. And then thrown up from 3/4 court. It was only just short, but Hong Kong with a prayer at the end there to reduce the deficit down to 13, having been as many as 18. And it took them a long, long time to get going. 15 points in that quarter, certainly not a bad tally. Now they need to find a way of stopping the Philippines' firepower in the second quarter. At the end of one, the Philippines 28, Hong Kong 15.
We talked about the importance of Hong Kong just hanging around, and that 3-pointer on the buzzer, that's a big play for them. And you see the 3-point stats, they're up to 3 of 8, they missed their first 5, so they've made 3 in a row. And all of a sudden that just keeps the scoreboard ticking over, keeps the Philippines thinking. And look at the rebounds, 6 offensive boards to 1 for the Philippines. And, you know, we said yesterday, Hong Kong dominated that count. Today, you're on the other side of it, and they're on the other side of the scoreboard at the moment. But you look at that scoreboard, Philippines 28 points in a quarter. Yesterday, Hong Kong only gave up 50 for the entire game. So they've certainly got some adjustments to make, and I think part of it is their defensive transition. They're allowing the Philippines to really roll into their offense and get some easy open shots in rhythm. As we see there, some careless offense. Jason Castro, his defense was up and in from the very first play. Blatch, they went inside to him the first play, then he went outside, we saw a drive, so again, he's done a little bit of everything.
5 points and 4 boards in the first quarter for Blatch. Campo got that one to go. They've had 5 points and 6 rebounds from Hontiveros, the Philippines. That man's been doing the business for Hong Kong. 8 points to lead all scorers in the game in the first quarter for Chan Siu Wang.
I think the thing that Chan did was he started just playing with some real aggression offensively. I think they've been second-guessing themselves against that defense, and he's just played on a bit of instinct, taking the shots as they come.
28-15, the Philippines lead at the start of the second quarter. On game day 2 of the FIBA Asian Championship. Looking to respond to that hugely disappointing defeat to Palestine on the opening day. Hong Kong looking to respond to a hugely disappointing start. They can't start the second quarter positively. The Philippines will have the chance to stretch their lead.
I didn't mind that offense though, you know, Chan's been hot, used the pick and roll, got into the heart of the defense, just couldn't finish it off.
Romeo across to the far side to Ganguelas, back to Romeo. Taking plenty of threes already, moves it across to Abueva, shot clock down to 3 here. They're going to battle to try and get a shot away, and denied was Asi Taulava, who's just come into the game.
You know, I like that team defense. 4 Hong Kong players in the paint. Look at them surround him, and Reed coming from behind. They've got to make the Philippines beat them from outside. Can they keep hitting their shots for 4 quarters?
They've created a good look from 3 here. Back-to-back threes, 1 at the end of the first, 1 at the start of the second, and they've closed the gap to just 10. Lava across to the far side to Ganguelas. Off balance and fouled was Calvin Abueva, and we'll go to the line for 2. If you look at this score right now, remember it was 20-2. It's now 28-18.
Yeah, and again, look, there's still 5 bench players on the floor for the Philippines. And it looks like a different ball game out there, doesn't it? They just don't have that depth that perhaps they did 2 years ago in Manila.
First one good from the line for Abueva, who now has 6 points. Philippines getting to the line frequently. As Abueva misses the second, now 7 of 10 from the foul line. Trying to grab the offensive ball was Taulava, knocked away, and it's going to be Hong Kong ball. It's an opportunity for them, having been 18 down in the first quarter, to make it a single-digit game. Leung Shihua. Screen set on the outside by Wong. Moved across now to Ao Jung, who hit that huge three-pointer right at the end of the first. Wong again, shot clock down to 5 now. Put up from the outside, off balance and off the mark. Grabs his own rebound though. Didn't hit the rim, got the shot away. Another offensive board. Now there's a real scramble for possession after the 2 misses from Chan. It's going to go the Philippines' way.
Yeah, foul called there on Wong, but some great hustle. The thing you noticed on that possession, how much better was the player movement from Hong Kong than earlier in the game. And you saw early in the game when the players weren't moving, the Philippine defense, they're all in help position. At that time, they're all worried about where their man is going, and it's opening up driving lanes.
Andre Blatch back into the game for the Philippines. By 11. Here's Abueva, moves it on to Blatch. He's going to come in and take a shot straight away. He's going to knock it down straight away.
I like that shot against the zone defense. Don't settle for a 3. You can get those short corner shots, and Blatch is money from there.
13-point lead now. Moved on by Chan, put up from the outside off the mark. Blatch with a rebound. Abueva thought about the 3. Faked it and moved it on. Gets it now. Thinks about it again. Drives inside against his opposite number. In towards Blatch. And turned the ball over.
3 seconds in the key there. Blatch thought his teammates were going to shoot it. He was camped in there for rebounding position, and they just dilly-dallied for a little bit too long. 3-second call.
A little part of that tiredness and fatigue, perhaps, not getting out quick enough. Shoots a 3 here. Hong Kong, it's long, grabbed by Castro.
There's just a different tempo about the game when Castro is in, isn't there?
Quickens the pace for everybody. Here's Blatch. Needs to drive inside. Back to Castro. Still 10 left to shoot. Castro prodding and probing, trying to penetrate, but a turnover.
He's just moving a little early on that screen. He doesn't agree with it, but what player does when he's committed a foul. But again, you see that difference when Hong Kong were able to get their defense set and not allow Castro to attack in transition. They look a lot better. When the Philippines start moving that ball early in the shot clock, they're very hard to contain.
By Ao Young, gets it back here now. On to the far side, there's a bit more movement to gain. Reed wants the ball on the perimeter, waits for that cut towards the basket. Lovely play this, but blocked off underneath the hoop by Gamuelas. Certainly looking more sprightly now, Hong Kong. Castro takes on the 3 and hits from the outside, the 5th from downtown for the Philippines.
That's a big shot for Castro. He was none for 2 yesterday from the 3-point land. That's perhaps the question about his game. He makes one there.
Hong Kong force that one in. No is the answer as Leung misses. And Blatch grabs the rebound, and here comes Abueva. Going through the gears, moves it across to the far side. Pingris goes back to Blatch. He's going to arrive late and shoot the 3 and knocks down another one. So Blatch and Castro both onto 10 points.
And you know, we talk about Blatch not being in peak condition, but if he can time his run down the floor to be that trailer, it makes it tough for the opposition to guard.
He's just naturally become a trailer because he can't get up there quick enough. Into the corner, put up by Wong. Another miss for Hong Kong. Having a bit of a barren spell now. The lead has grown actually to the largest lead of the game at 19. They had reduced the arrears to 10. We see they missed an open shot there on a previous possession. Wong had some great position under the basket, but they missed him as we see Blatch in that trailer roll and nails the 3.
But Hong Kong, they have to make the most of those opportunities just to hang around, because as soon as the Philippines start getting out beyond 20, they could blow this game out.
Here's Castro. He's certainly capable of blowing the game open, but he misses that one. Hong Kong could really do with the basket here, fired in so quickly towards Reed, and the interference called against Blanche. The basket counts for Duncan Reed.
Now, the referee's saying that Andre Blatch came up through the ring on that one, but the referee was on the other side of the basket to it. I think maybe there may have been a little optical illusion from that side of the bucket. Anyway, the points are in the book, and that's a handy too.
They need anything they can get right now, Hong Kong, as Blatch rolls towards the rim and gets fouled.
Just the second time that we've actually seen that true low post feed for Blatch. And, we need to see that more often, I think, if the Philippines are going to go deep into the tournament.
Third foul already on Wong, Chun Wai. Blatch not letting that call bother him at the other end. He's coming down court to making an impact straight away. It's 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point range for 10 points in 10 minutes. His team up by 17 midway through the second quarter and looking to extend that now from the line. Blatch looking to extend his scoring tally.
You look at his shot numbers, as you mentioned, 4 from inside, 4 from outside. Yesterday, 11 from inside and 7 from outside. I think the Philippines would love to see perhaps a 2-to-1 ratio of his shots from inside. And they don't all have to be at the rim. They get him the ball at 15 feet. He's excellent catch and shoot from that position.
21 points and 12 rebounds, 28 minutes in court yesterday. This is the foul shots. 7 of 18 from the field yesterday, 1 of 7 downtown, as we've discussed.
I like that Hong Kong are still trying to throw that lead pass. They're the easiest baskets they're going to get. Occasionally it might lead to a turnover, but they've got to keep being aggressive.
Moves to Duncan Reed here, right at the midway point of the second quarter. We'll wait for some offensive movement here as Wong comes to set the screen. Seems it on the perimeter now, looks to drive inside against Blatch, who got a piece of the shot. Wong able to catch it, still a few seconds to get a shot away. Long two is short, and Reed can't gather the rebound.
That'll be a Hong Kong, but how about the hustle from Castro? You see the swat from Blatch. Outstanding timing. He hasn't got his jumping legs with him, but great timing to get a further touch on that.
Chong puts it up from the outside, way off the mark. Blatch with another rebound. He's approaching a double-double already. Moves it towards the baseline this time. Nice bounce pass. And put in. 19-point lead again. Ty's largest lead of the game.
Tap Baldwin will love seeing Dio Campo getting involved. They've got some penetrators. He's a guy who can finish off that work.
Blatch able to take it away from Reed. Looked to play it down court, just about found a way through. And Castro will add to his impressive tally. The Philippines add to theirs, and they have a 21-point lead.
You can see there the defensive intensity from Castro. And of course, for those at home, his name up there, Jason William, that's his father's surname, William, which is on his passport. That's why it's used here. But he's now taken on his mother's surname, Jason Castro, so that's what we're referring to.
He's now 4 of 5 from the field for 12 points to lead all scorers in the game. Hong Kong need to put together a run in the final 4 minutes of the first half here. Chan Siu Wing is their leading scorer with 8 points so far. Looking to hang that one up. Another miss for them. They're really struggling from the field now.
Shocking. How about the hesitation, dribble, and the hang time? He's certainly been a standout for Hong Kong so far.
Blatch going to shoot another 3. Way off the mark this time. Hong Kong with the opportunity to shoot a 3 of their own across to Chan on the near side. It's licking the driving side. They will take on the 3 now. It's yet another miss.
Yeah, that was some classic Southeast Asian offense there. Just movement everywhere, dribble, drive, pass. About dribble, drive, no one does it better than Castro. But here's another chance for Hong Kong.
2-on-1 now. They'll take on the 3, and the drought continues.
Yeah, it's, you know, we talked about that basketball saying, operation successful, patient died. The execution's pretty good from Hong Kong. They're just missing shots that they were making yesterday.
Here's Castro. Castro to drive inside and draw contact for Ganuelas.
How about the pass fake from Ganuelas? I mean, he threw the defender completely off and then knifed through the gap, and he gets 2 free throws as the result.
Timeout called with just under 3 minutes remaining of the first half. Hong Kong down by 21 now. They were down by 18 very early on in the first quarter, 20-2, got within 10. But they've fallen down big now, again by the largest Philippines lead of the game. And we have a look at the Hong Kong leaders, 8 points for Chan. He's been stuck on that tally for a while though. They have failed to score, Hong Kong, in the last 3 minutes.
And there's that little medium range jump shot we talked about from Latch, and a lovely pass there from Ganuelas. And, you know, gets that zone. You see those 2 highlights is the Philippines getting into it and creating in-close opportunities. You know, Hong Kong there, 3-point chance in transition. They've got to keep taking those opportunities and just hope they start dropping the shots.
Jason Castro, leading scorer in the game, 12 points, 4 of 6 from the field. And Andre Blatch, 10 points as well as 7 rebounds.
Stats have got Castro there. They haven't credited him any steals, but he's been mighty disruptive in creating some turnovers from Hong Kong.
They have credited Blatch with a couple of steals as well as a blocked shot. And Hontiveros there has 5 points, all of those coming early on. Ganuelas at the line. It's 1 point for him so far from the foul line. He was 1 of 2 on his first trip, misses his first on his second trip. Misses both of them, that one some way short. You need a big 3 minutes here, you feel, Hong Kong, just to give them a hint of optimism heading into the half-time interval. Here with Reed, hands it off and then moved on to that far side. The shot clock's down to 3 already. Really difficult move for Lau.
He needed to be able to finish that on his left hand. He did the hard work. That's a very difficult right-hand shot from there.
And that one good for the Philippines as the lead continues to grow. Hontiveros hits from the outside and now has 8 points.
On that last possession, I think it was by accident, but we saw Duncan Reed running the point guard. I'd love to see Hong Kong try that when Blatch is on the court.
By Chan. Chan's drive to the baseline now. Pull back, coming off the glass. Almost as if there's something covering the rim right now. Castro kicks it over to the far side to Hontiveros. Castro again. Final 2 minutes of the first half. Hontiveros survives and knocks down the 3. It is a 27-point ball game.
The Philippines now 8 of 17 from long range, and you know they are typically a strong 3-point shooting country, and they're showing it tonight.
Reed goes to work and gets the hook shot to drop, and that brings to an end a 4-minute drought for Hong Kong. 25-point deficit. Here's Ganuelas, steps inside for the long 2, and they are certainly finding their range. 49 first half points.
And that was smart play from Ganuelas. You know, he's not a noted 3-point shooter. He stepped into the jump shot, made it an 18-footer. He's nothing but string.
To Reed, back out to the perimeter. They look to come inside and call for a double dribble. Plenty of disappointment for Hong Kong at the moment. Slow start, good response, and then they've dried up again. Toss to Romeo. Castro fluttering around the perimeter, kicks it over to the far side off the mark, rebound grabbed by Zeto. And they just get a score towards the end of the first half. It's going to be a long two. Short, and the final shot at the half will be with the Philippines. And they break the 50-point barrier in the first 20 minutes. Norwood passes the ball inside towards Toss. Hook shot from him, soft touch, and they have 51 in the half. That one not too far away at the buzzer for Hong Kong. But what a quarter that was for the Philippines after a strong response from Hong Kong. 51 points in the half, led by the 12 of Jason Castro. 3 players in double figures for the Philippines in the first half, 11 for Hontiveros and 10 for Blatch. At half-time, they lead 51-22.
And a strong half from the Philippines. They'd be very happy with that response after yesterday's result. But probably still some concerns. When their reserves were on the court, Hong Kong looked good. It was when Blatch came back in and when Castro came back in. He changed the pace of the game and Hong Kong couldn't keep up. And I mean, maybe that's something that Coach Tab Baldwin's got to consider, through the tournament. Does he actually use his reserves together? Or does he alter those rotations so that they're in and out? There's always perhaps 2-3 starters at least in the ball game. As we look at some of the top scorers, Castro with 12. You refer to him as the Blur. That's his nickname, and he's been outstanding. Chan with 8 points, and you mentioned he's been stuck on that for a while. And he's the only player from Hong Kong who's really been able to test the Philippines defense. You see Wong with 3 points. He's been aggressive, but just hasn't been able to finish off his work.
Yeah, Chan started pretty quickly, but only 3 of 10 from the field. He finishes in that first half for those team-high 8 points for Hong Kong. As I mentioned, 3 Philippine players in double figures. And talking about those rotations, perhaps an alteration, the struggles they have when Blatch and Castro are off the court, not really a problem here today, but we're talking about when they go deeper into the tournament, that lack of strength in depth, perhaps what could stand between them and a gold medal.
It could do, but there is a golden saying that there's no point playing your best basketball at the start of the tournament. Yesterday's loss could come back to hurt them, but in the end it may be the spur that they need, both for the players and for the coaching staff, to do a little bit of assessment for where they're at.
They're certainly finding a response today after that huge disappointment yesterday against Palestine. There's not been a great deal of joy for Hong Kong, blocked off on their route to the rim that time. Blatch has come up with a big block there, a couple of steals for him as well as those 10 points, 4 of 9 from the field. Plenty of them have got in on the act, but this man leads the way with 12 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 12 points in 12 minutes on court. And at half-time, the Philippines lead Hong Kong 51-22. Join us again for the second half in around 10 minutes' time.
生的能力，吉祥人寿，让人类都拥有健康养老保障。
千亿央企，百强文化，文化集团遍及全球，拥有百家海外企业，经历23深耕，政企携手，凡人18场，布局全国。运动近两百公企业，2015国际篮联亚锦赛考服力长险赞助商，爱关节近代关节全项营养品，爱运动近两百公企业，2015国际篮联亚锦赛考服力长险赞助商，爱关节近代关节全项营养品。湖南建工集团，湖南省首家房屋建筑工程总成功特级资质企业集团，连续12年入选中国企业500强，连续16年荣获70项中国建设工程5班奖，致力打造成为集项目投资、运作、实施和经营能力于一体的总服务商，国内建筑业先锋企业。为国家经济和社会发展做出更大的贡献。SUV 要有型，有个性。
无泡地板湖南孵化有限公司 International Strawberry 湖南葡萄酒，大连华尔城生物科技发展有限公司，大连华尔城环保材料冒险有限公司，中科时代电动汽车组有限公司，湖南 CRRC Finance Electric Vehicles， 湖南省建筑工程集团有限公司，湖南 Construction Group， 湖南伙伴体育实业发展集团有限公司，湖南 Public Sports Industrial Development Group， 华润雪花有中国有限公司 ，China Resources Silk Brewers。 同时，我们还要向台下单位表示感谢，但是也要送一件all official partners 国际篮球联合会 FIBA 中国篮球协会 Chinese Basketball Association 湖南省人民政府 People's Municipal Government of Hunan Province 湖南省体育局 Hunan Sports Group 湖南体育产业集团有限公司 Hunan Sports Industry Group 济南传媒集团有限公司济南职业 Group 长沙民政职业技术学院。 长沙 Social Work College， 中南理工科技大学 ，South University of Forestry Technology。我们还要向关注815国际产业亚洲国际招商的专家媒体表示感谢。And thank you very much, all the media.
Welcome back to Changsha, where Hong Kong are facing a huge deficit at the start of the second half, down 51-22 to the Philippines, who have certainly found an all guns blazing response to their huge disappointment. Their big upset defeat to Palestine yesterday. They've got 3 in double figures, 12 for Castro, 11 for Hontiveros, 10 for Blatch, and the likes of Duncan Reid for Hong Kong need to try and find a response here in the third quarter.
Yeah, they need to get the ball inside and get some easy baskets. Against Kuwait yesterday, they were 24 of 41 from 2-point range. So far today, they're just 5 of 23. And yesterday, they shot 26 free throws. So far today, not one.
51-22, the Philippines lead at the start of the second half. Blatch up against Reid, driving inside, bundling his way to the basket and drawing the foul.
Nice little burst of speed there from Blatch. He's really dangerous in that area from about 15 feet where he can shoot or one dribble and get to the basket. I'd like to see the Philippines go to that a little more often.
Saw it a few times early on from Blatch in the game yesterday. That's the first time we've really seen him drive to the basket like that here today.
Yeah, he's very dangerous putting the ball on the floor early in the offensive transition yesterday, but today it's been a little bit more post-ups or jump shots.
Blatch at the foul line, adding to his 10 points from the first half. Can't get the second to go. The lead for the Philippines is 30. Hong Kong looking to get going here in the third quarter. That would off the mark. Rebound for Reid though. And a fresh 14 to work with, and Blatch is called for the foul.
But I like the intent from Jude to put the ball on the floor, get to the rim. You're just unlucky that his finger roll didn't quite drop.
Aside from the 8 points of Chong in the first half, or Chan rather, they have 6 from Duncan Reid, who took a while to get going. Finished the half 3 of 6 from the field. Here's Lee Key. He's not got going at all yet. One of those players capable of stepping up. It's Reed up against Blatch again. And Blatch called for his second foul in quick succession.
Blatch not happy with the call, but it's the intent from Reed. You know, he got into the paint and he puts the pressure on the referee to make that call. You see the left leg just sticking out, and 2 free throws to come, and 2 possessions in a row from Hong Kong where they've got into the paint and put a bit more pressure on the Philippines defense.
Reed at the line gets the first to rattle around. He talked about not getting to the foul line. It's their first trip there. Just 1 of 2.
And it's these sorts of situations where you can really make some judgments on the coaching staff. You can see that they're attuned to what's going on, and they've got that message across to their players. We'll see if it sticks, you know, past the initial bit of the third quarter.
There's Castro, his leading scorer, 12 points in that first half. Back to him by Norwood. Castro going to take on the long 3 right at the end of the shot clock and knocks it down. He now has 15.
He's done everything so far today. He gets to the rim, creates turnovers, and his 3-point shot is firing as well.
5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from downtown for Jason Castro. Good passage to the hoop here for Lin Ho Jun.
How about the left to right crossover from Lin, and then the tough finish, absorbing the contact, soft off the glass.
Castro onto Del Campo and towards Blatch, catches it high up against 2, not a problem for him as he puts it in.
Last year the big fella would have dunked that. This year drops it in softly, an excellent execution, the high-low play between the 2 big men.
Here's Lee. Taking his time on the perimeter, finding Reed on the foul line. Nothing but net for him. 3 points in the first 2 minutes of the second half for Reed, 9 points overall. Inside to Blatch again, up against Reed once more. Commanding attention underneath the hoop and leaving others free, and then there's a foul.
And Hong Kong, it almost looked like they were in a little box of 1 defense on that possession, with 4 players playing a zone, and Duncan Reed shadowing Blatch. You can see that opens up the hole in the middle for Del Campo.
Fouled by Reed, so he's at the line for 2. 6 points and 5 rebounds yesterday for Del Campo, but 3 of 9 from the field. 2 of 3 from the field today, and this is his first trip to the foul line.
I think he's looked much better with this starting unit. You know, he's a player who feeds off others, and yesterday in that reserve unit, he didn't have anybody to feed off. I think it's a good switch from Tabor.
It's already a better game in terms of points and rebounds, and certainly a more efficient one. Shoot to the corner. Lin's going to put it up. Can't hit. Castro comes away with it. Blatch, just a little off the mark to Hontiveros on the far side. Blatch calling for it again. Draws the attention of the defence and kicks it across to the near side where Norwood is off the mark. Offensive board though for Hontiveros. Blatch, fake the 3, drives inside. There's another one of those moves as he puts the ball on the floor and he gets contact from Reed.
And that wasn't a great defensive set from Hong Kong, but some really nice ball movement from the Philippines. They went to the high post, they swung the ball, got it across to the other side, got an offensive rebound, and then Blatch doesn't settle for the 3. He slices to the basket and gets to the line.
A couple of fouls on Reed early on in the third quarter, now has 3. Blatch was only 1 of 4 from the foul line before that one. Able to get them both to go this time though, and now has 15. On by Lin to Key. Driving in, Blatch grabs the board. Blatch going to go all the way, bumping off the defence and just charging his way through, now has 17.
Zhu puts his body on the line trying to get the charge, and all he got out of that was a sore back.
Almost as if he wasn't there. Zhu 2 at the other end. Norwood. He's taking his time, waiting for a different option there. Campo to Norwood on the far side. Not a great deal of movement at the moment for the Philippines as they move it inside. And Ranidal Deo Campo pulls the chain for a big flush.
Some really nice execution, but once again, the intensity has completely gone out of the Hong Kong defense since they've gone to this zone. And in a zone, it's no excuse to drop off. They've got to pick up the intensity.
Lee Key onto Reed. Lovely pass from Reed to Lin, who puts it in.
He just loves seeing big guys making passes like that. He only had a sliver to get it through, but he found it with the right hand.
You've got a big guy who can draw the double team, and then they can pass their way out of it. It's always going to leave opportunities. Reed doing an excellent job there, and doing an excellent job at the other end is Deo Campo, who adds to his tally, and quickly into double figures after back-to-back baskets.
Andre Blatch huffing and puffing, and so Gabe Norwood gets the foul and get him off for the rest. But we took it, and here's this drive, and he knocks Shu right over. But I think, you know, I'm talking about the defense we see there, pedestrian defense, and Deo Campo makes the most of it. But they say that the best zone looks like a man. They've got to have that intensity, so they're always covering someone in their zone defense. And at the moment, they're leaving too many open men.
Reed, the crossover, the head fake, can't get the shot to go though up against Taulava. Quickly down court at the other end, kicking it across to Norwood was Castro, and they put it up. Taulava grabs the rebound and puts it back in. Taulava off the mark. Quick change of pace and drive to the baseline. They lost the handle of the ball. Chance you win. Halfway through the third quarter, we're going to have a timeout with the Philippines leading 69-31. 4 players for them now in double figures, led by the 17 of Andre Blanche, who's also closing in on a double-double as Hong Kong call timeout. So Hong Kong down by as many as 38 here. It's been a really tough outing for them after a tremendous performance against Kuwait yesterday. And it just goes to emphasise, I suppose, how big that win over Kuwait was.
Yeah, it wasn't expected. You know, a lot of people thought Kuwait were going to win that game. They played some great basketball. Obviously, they go into a game against Palestine tomorrow. And, you know, while Palestine had a great win yesterday, there's still a little bit of an unknown commodity. They're new to this sort of tournament. There's a chance. There's a chance for Hong Kong to get another victory on the board tomorrow. And they've got to make sure they keep doing the right things for the rest of this game.
Castro puts up the 3 and puts it in. What a performance from Jason Castro. 4 of 5 from downtown now, and a game-high 18 points.
So you can't stay in front of him going to the basket, so you sag off. But when his three-point shot is dropping, it's hard to guard him anyway.
Lovely pause and pivot. Can't get the shot to go though. Chance Yu Wing still stuck on those 8 points. Here's Taulava. Receiving it quickly, grabs his own rebound, can't get it to go the second time, can't reel it in for a third time, or can he? He's battling for the board and able to get it. Across to the far side, it's Castro again, back-to-back threes for Jason Castro, who now has 21. 5 of 6 from downtown, 7 of 9 from the field.
Do you think he took yesterday's loss personally? He's been on a mission today.
10 points in 19 minutes yesterday, 3 of 8 from the field, 7 of 9 today. With the number 7, who is lighting it up from the outside.
You see some substitutions for the Philippines. But Tab Baldwin is leaving 2 starters out there. It'll be interesting to see when does he go to the full bench, or does he experiment with these mixed lineups.
44-point deficit. Hong Kong, here's Wong. Passes it off to the far side, receives it back on the perimeter. Takes on the three at the end of the shot clock. No good. Offensive ball for them though. Put up by So. He's off the mark. Another offensive rebound and a rejection off the flat shot from Wong. Still able to get it here, Hong Kong, and finally get it to go. I think in the fourth time of asking.
Chu, he's been impressive in this third quarter. He's got those long legs, he has a couple of big strides, and he's at the basket.
There's been no let-up from the Philippines, though. They have the ball with Romeo on the near side. They'll shoot another three. They will hit another three. Quite simply scintillating from downtown. 12 of 23 now from three-point range.
Ontiveros with 4 of 6. And they're short on three-point shooters this year. If he can keep shooting like this, that's going to be a key for them.
Back-to-back baskets for Hong Kong. Wong Chung-wai able to finish. Romeo. Taulava. Back to Romeo. So quick on the perimeter. Slows it down here. Goes for the crossover. 3 off the mark this time on the move. And on 2 minutes of the third quarter. Wong looking to get inside. And he's fouled.
He loves going to the basket. He's like a bulldozer driving from the three-point line. Has that little up fake, he gets his man just up out of their stance, and then he goes to the right hand, and he gets 2 free throws this time.
Fouled by the 42-year-old Taulava. It's quite crazy to think that Taulava had 10.3 points and 7.1 boards at this tournament back in 2007, 8 years ago. And he was 34-year-old then. Quite remarkable.
I think commentators then might have been calling him the swan song and the veteran and all that sort of stuff. But you know, credit to him to still be going around and representing his country. And you know, he's going to be important because Blatch can't play 30-35 minutes of high intensity. He's going to have to use that release for good minutes.
We've talked about them being the oldest team in the tournament, though, at the age of 31, and that position really stresses that. Blatch only 29, but of course lacking for fitness at the moment, and then to replace him, you've got a 42-year-old.
Yeah, and they like to play fast basketball, but I guess the key we talked about earlier is Romeo nails the three.
Yet another one. Romeo has his second from downtown.
We talked about Blatch playing that trailer role. I think that's going to be a key for them as well. So his teammates can play quick. If it's not on, he's dangerous coming down a little later.
Philippines have 81 points with still 11.5 minutes to play. And it goes towards Leung, or is it knocked away, and still Hong Kong ball. Davis called for the second person. The game comes Leung, or rather JC Intel, I beg your pardon. And out goes Hontiveros on 14 points. 5 of 8 from the field, 4 of 6 from downtown. Leung, it is at the line. 12 points in just 6.5 minutes yesterday for Leung Shihua, 4 of 4 from the field. And today that's his first point. He's taken a couple of field goal attempts and missed them both. Foul on Leung.
A little bit more intensity in the zone from Hong Kong that time, and perhaps out of that last time out, that was the message. They've got to get up and in, and a team like Hong Kong, they've got to create easy baskets from defense because they're not going to post a winning score just playing in the half court.
And it comes to Norwood and goes back to Romeo. Romeo looking to receive it on the perimeter again, looking for another three-pointer. Can't hit this one, didn't hit the rim, and here come Hong Kong. Final minutes of the third quarter. Nice pass, under the basket, crowded out though. To the feed from Chong, and given away. Romeo wide open, for 3 off the mark. He's hit a couple from downtown, Romeo, but he's now 2 of 7. High off the glass, no good. Grabbed by Intel. Norwood. Romeo's going to drive inside this time. Saw a passage to the hoop, but can't finish with the layup. Final 30 seconds or so of the third quarter. Young. Put up by Wong for 3. Short. Muelas trying to grab the rebound. It's out of bounds. Still Hong Kong possession.
There's some really athletic wingmen for the Philippines. You know, you look at Norwood, Ganuelos, Monteveros. It's so important that they're active on the board, particularly at the defensive end, so that they can spark the running game.
So Shung Yin. Ganuelos having to defend one-on-one now. The shot off the mark. A few seconds of the third as there's a foul on Leung, his second in quick succession.
And I think that foul, you know, with 6 seconds to go, his team in the bonus, it just shows you perhaps Hong Kong not switched on to the job at hand. They've got another, you know, barring some upsets, they're going through to the second round. They've got to get back to playing some disciplined possession-by-possession basketball so that they're ready to go tomorrow.
Romeo gets the hop off the front rim. Seven points for him now, but just 2 of 9 from the field today in around 12 minutes on court. He repeats the trick with the second one. Now has 8 points. Final seconds of the third, they lose it. A chance now for the Philippines with the long 3. That would have summed it up, and that one gone down for Gabe Norwood. It's been a tremendous 3-point shooting display. 13 of 28 from downtown for 46%. 5 of 6 of those from Jason Castro, who leads the way with 21 points. 17 for Andre Blatch, along with 8 rebounds. They have 4 in double figures. They lead at the end of 3, 83-38.
Well, coming out of that halftime break, we talked about the quality execution from Hong Kong. They had that focus to go inside, and we asked, you know, once that message isn't quite as fresh in their minds, will they continue to do it? And that really dropped away as that quarter wore on. And against a good team like the Philippines, they're athletic. You know, they can create turnovers, they can switch pick and roll. You've got to execute really well. It's a good test. Look at their execution down low offensively. You know, we talked about yesterday, there wasn't enough of that. You know, we want to see him going back to that, although I don't think we'll see Blatch again today. I imagine he's got some ice on and he'll be getting ready for tomorrow's game.
Blatch had to play 28 minutes yesterday because of that close game against Palestine. He's played 18 minutes over the first 3 quarters today. Just wonder if that's it for the big man. He'll be a little shy of a double-double, 17 points and 8 rebounds. And we talked about how that centre position with Blatch and Taulava is perhaps the only weakness in terms of pace, in terms of the fitness of the two. But Blatch is only going to get fitter and fitter as this tournament progresses, and we've also talked about how a team should progress the deeper they get into the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the interesting balance for the Philippines is that Tab Baldwin, traditionally quite a structured coach, Filipino basketball, you know, somewhat unstructured, you know, just instinctive basketball. And today I think they've had that balance a bit better than yesterday. Mind you, the challenge from the opposition hasn't been as strong.
Start of the fourth quarter, the Philippines lead Hong Kong 83-38. It's a 45-point lead. Chan Siu Wing, the Hong Kong number 8, was their leading scorer for the vast majority of the opening 3 quarters. He had those 8 points very early on, and still on 8. Reed's bumping his way in towards the basket, misses that one. He's now their leading scorer with 9 points, 4 of 8 from the field. Romeo lost to Ganuelos, then moved to the baseline, back inside off the mark for Del Campo. Spinning away is Lee Key. still yet to score. Chan trying to get away and gets contact from Intel.
We saw so much of that early in the game. It was very impressive, but whether it's been him being a little more tentative, whether it's been the defence cutting him off, but he's dropped away from the game, and I think it'd be good for him to get his eye back in this final quarter.
Started ever so well, now 3 of 11 from the field. Over on the far side up against Welas, looking to drive down the baseline across to this corner, but losing the handle on the ball was Chong and Cam Hing. Welas. Just about found its way across to Intel on the near side. Tries to get to the basket. He's fouled, it's on Reed. It's going to be the 4th. Duncan Reed.
There is Andre Blatch, looking very comfortable there with his sweats on. He was impressive today. Tomorrow's game against FIBA. They'll be hoping for a similar thing. Play him early, rest him late, and save him for the second round.
JC Intel able to score his first point. Green setting the screen, then moving inside, receives it now. Wonderfully done, but misses the open layup. Romeo turning on the afterburners, moving it across to Pingris, who gets on the ball.
How about that little push pass from Romeo? He timed it to perfection and then delivered it on money.
So Intel and Pingris both scoring now. And Norwood, the only player who's not scored for the Philippines. Here comes Romeo at pace again, and Welas is going to put this one in. Another easy basket.
Romeo just dishing out the dimes. His teammates will be enjoying playing with him today. He was a scorer yesterday. He was 3 of 8 from long range. He hasn't been on as much today, so he's become a distributor.
Reed receiving it on the perimeter and looking to get in towards the paint. Knocked away though by Del Campo. Welas with the rejection to deny Al Yan. Romeo passing towards Welas, can't finish at the other end. Romeo able to recover the rebound. So much energy. Terrence Romeo just keeps on going.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. You know, the Philippines have lost some guys like David and Alan, who were their energy guys off the bench. Romeo, a much younger player, but they're hoping he can be that spark plug. And perhaps today, you know, Gamuelos has shown that he can do a little bit as well. We haven't seen as much as Abueva as he checks in now, but he's another player who can give that spark.
We've got a 50-point ball game, and still the likes of Terrence Romeo have their foot firmly on the pedal for the Philippines. And talking about foot firmly on the pedal, Chan Siu Wing gets all the way and finally moves into double figures. It's taken him long enough.
Nice hang time there.
Turn the ball over the Philippines. Waver does come into the game, commits the offensive foul. Young, cross to Key. Green. Against Pingris, turning one way then the other, trying to find a way out. Falls back to Miki. He's going to put it up from way beyond the 3-point line. Still has 7 seconds to work with. Here comes a Waver, wide open 3 for Gamuelas from the corner.
I think he was just a step outside his range there. Early in the game, he stepped into 18 feet. I'd love to see him get some more jump shots.
Take the long 2 was Al Young. 6.5 minutes as Romeo goes through the gears again, but can't finish. Would have been a lovely move. Here it goes from Chan to Reed. Against Pingris again. The glass gets the better of Pingris this time.
I know he's missed a couple of easy shots around the rim, but I think for the production he gives, they don't go to him on the low block enough. And
11 points, 5 of 11 from the field now for Duncan Reid. Waver gets fouled.
He's 5 of 11. His teammates are 13 of 4. I think he's a pretty productive option. As this tournament progresses, he's got to be a bit of a front scorer. He's got 5 assists today. So, he's not a black hole. You can go to him, he can score, and you can find a teammate. So perhaps just a little adjustment the coaching staff need to make to get him a little more involved.
Duncan Reid, the second Hong Kong player into double figures, with Chan having hit 10 points now as well. And Waver misses the first from the foul line. Just 1 of 2 from the field. He's 5 of 8 from the free throw line now for 7 points of Waver. Try the 3 here with Young. The mark of Waver looking to grab the rebound. Now a chance in transition. 2-on-1 opportunity here as they attack the basket with Romeo. Plenty of Filipino players following in to try and grab the rebound, and then a foul.
I love that energy from Abueva. Second in line, but jumped over the top for the offensive board. And, you see him here. Look at that athleticism and endeavour. You wouldn't think it was a 45-point game in the final quarter. I think that's a strength the Philippines have. They've probably got the most athletic and versatile wing players in the competition. Iran have great wing players, but they haven't got the length and athleticism that the Philippines crew have.
It certainly could be forgiven at this stage of the game with this margin for just moving down court in transition a little slower, but instead they were queuing up for the offensive board. Absolutely. 5 minutes and 41 to play in the game. Lead is 45. There's a foul on half court.
See them just up a little bit with the defense. I think a couple of those guys are eyeing off some dunks in transition. Probably the last thing you want, cherry on the Sunday, is a couple of rim rockers.
Chan. To go all the way by himself. You can see his intention straight away, but he was followed all the way. Seems a certainty now that the Philippines will reach that century mark unless they really slow down in the final 5 minutes. Toss. Doesn't get inside, looking to use some muscle, but commits the offensive foul.
That's a big aggressive here. Doesn't mind throwing his weight around.
They call him the boss.
We found out there the referee is the boss on the basketball court.
Toss taught a lesson. Midway point of the fourth quarter. Niki going to take on the 3. And still hasn't scored today. He's 0 of 8 from the field. Lovely crossover, bringing Guanuelas into the play, and he lays it up and in.
That's a beautiful open court basketball. The crossover, and again Romeo with the feed.
Then has to move away from the basket and put it up on the outside. Back time for Hong Kong. Chan gets the 3, now has 13. Romeo to Intel, behind the back to Romeo, into the corner. On it, offensive rebound though from Toss. Intel fakes the 3, moves inside, lovely move from JC Intel, and the Filipino firepower is blowing Hong Kong to bits.
Deceptive move here, a little bit of hang time up between 2 defenders, and a nice finish.
Beto hands it off to Lee Ki. Can he finally get some points here? No. He's 0 of 9 from the field. Romeo, so quick in transition again, can't go all the way himself. To bounce Hong Kong ball.
You just get the impression that Romeo, he could play all day running up and down the court. You could see him in a gym in Manila somewhere just terrorising opponent hour after hour. He seems like his energy will never run out.
Timeout with 3 minutes and 39 seconds to play. The Philippines leading Hong Kong 94 to 47 as Hong Kong call a timeout. And, very much in need of a rest. They'll want to just put this one behind them. I suppose they got their big win yesterday over Kuwait. They have come up against a wounded Philippines team who have found a response and risen in the face of adversity after that shock of a defeat yesterday against Palestine. Blatch with 17 points and seated for the whole of this fourth quarter. Castro with 6, or rather 5 of 6 from downtown, a game high 21 points. There you see the three-point shooting percentages, 13 of 29 for the Philippines for 44%. Hong Kong shooting just 20% from that range, 5 of 25.
Yeah, and the Philippines were 7 of 30 yesterday, so another 18 points from basically the same amount of attempts. That explains the scoreline.
3.5 minutes to play, they lead 94-47, and they come up with a steal right off the back of the timeout. It's the baseline to toss. Looks to get towards the basket, underway still Philippines ball.
He's keen on scoring some points. He wants to get in on the party and help them get to the century.
Romeo from the corner with the 3, another one from downtown. Romeo moves into double figures now with 11, so 5 of them in double digits for the Philippines, just 3 points away from the century mark with 3 minutes to play.
Their defense is still intense. They haven't dropped off at all.
Wide open 3, no good for So Shung-ying. Hong Kong hoping to reach to the half-century mark at least. Intel lines up another from three-point range, short. Abuela's battling for the ball, gets it. Intel across to the far side. Romeo thinking about the 3 again. Getting inside, back out to Intel. Shot clock down to 3. Tries to feed it inside. Higher than middle, pass towards Abuela. A shot clock violation in the end.
About those ball handling skills from Romeo, going between 2 defenders, the little dribble just a few inches off the floor, and then the left-hand pass between 2 defenders. Like, he's got some skills.
Certainly looks as though he can really grow and become a player for this national team. Shooting has left a little bit to be desired. 4 of 13 from the field yesterday for 11 points, and today 3 of 14.
Yeah, he hasn't finished inside today. Yesterday was 3 of 8 from three-point range. Today 3 of 10. So that is probably the area in his game he's got to pick up. But what the Philippines need from him is, you see the energy from Castro. Romeo comes in, they need it to be just as high.
2 minutes and change to go as Abuela steps inside, misses. And Hong Kong with opportunity in transition. Nobody really joining in time, so Chan has to take his time. Receives it again on the perimeter. So, Zeto back out to the outside. They put up the long 3 in the end. Abuelas with a rebound. Here's Romeo showing that pace again. Can't finish, so another miss for him. Blocked off on his passage to the hoop. And they do get this passage in transition with Shu.
Standing Euro step there. Rocked the defense one way, went the other, and finished with the offhand.
Romeo now 3 of 15 from the field today.
And how often is his attempts? He's got to the basket, he's done the hard work, he just hasn't been able to get the layup to roll.
He's at 3 of 16 as he misses that one from the outside. It's 0 of 5 inside, 3 of 11 from downtown.
It's reminiscent of Lin Jie for Chinese Taipei last night, and a number of those moves.
Waiver. Toss will put it up from mid-range and put it in. 99 points for the Philippines. actually their first score in nearly 2 minutes. Final minute of the game coming. Strong move inside, hook shot missed though by Zeto. Fizz passing towards the low post, over to the far side to Galwelas. Rebound recovered by Romeo. Quick crossover, finding Intel in the corner. The three way over the top of the basket.
The Intel was way off on that occasion.
And thought there'd be no chance the Philippines wouldn't make the 100-point mark. Here they are, having only scored 2 points in the last 2.5 minutes. To toss, and Philippines recover the ball. And one final chance in transition. Move forward towards Intel, no problem. This time for JC Intel. The feisty and fiery Philippines finding a full-blooded response on game day 2. They have surpassed the century mark, 101 to 50 here against Hong Kong. A superb performance in the second game. After that shock defeat against Palestine, they finish with 5 players in double figures, led by the 21 points of Jason Castro. Andre Blatch with 17, and able to take a seat for the whole of the fourth quarter. They will be delighted all around with their performance here on game day 2. The final score, the Philippines 101, Hong Kong 50.
And that was probably the blowout the Philippines needed. They must have been frustrated after yesterday. They played some good basketball early, but they just couldn't get back into that flow in the second half. Today, I mean, it wasn't the same quality of zone that we saw. And look at those rebounding numbers, 61 to 38. And I guess that just highlights how many shots Hong Kong missed. And early in the game, they were creating some good opportunities. They couldn't make them go. They couldn't keep that scoreboard pressure on the Philippines. Once that margin got beyond 20, it was just a matter of time before the Philippines put their foot down and blew it away.
See the leading scorers there, Castro with those 21, Chan with 13, 8 points early on, 5 points late on after a dry spell in between. Just 2 in double figures for Hong Kong, 11 for Reed, who was 5 of 11 from the field, 5 in double figures. That graphic there doesn't tell the whole story for the Philippines, who are scoring all round, and some good rebounding numbers as well. Black surely would have had a double-double had he played at all in the fourth quarter.
And we see, Hontaveros, we see him there, 14.7 rebounds. And to me, that was a key for the Philippines. They've got a couple of new wing players in this year, and they need them to step up and provide that scoring support for Castro and for Blatch. And for him to get his jumper going, to get active on the boards today, that's a good result for the Philippines.
As far as Andre Blatch is concerned as well, another big scoring game, 17 points, and he only had to play 18 minutes today. Got the block shot there as well, a couple of steals, and was left to celebrate on the bench for much of the fourth quarter. Big finish that time from De Ocampo. Out of his 10 points, one of those players in double figures, 4 of 6 from the field for him. Hong Kong really struggled from the field. They finish 31% from 2-point range, 18% from 3-point range.
Yeah, and a stark contrast to yesterday when they were able to create some good opportunities, especially in transition. Today it was a much harder work creating open shots, and even when they did, often they couldn't make it count.